redzonesports.bet, the British home of American sports.
Hello and welcome to the Sports Heads. Week 8 is almost upon us. We're nearly halfway through the NFL season and we're going to go through some of the big games this weekend. I'm Simon Millen from Lindy's Sports UK. I'm pleased to say this afternoon we have Warren Lambias, who's the co-founder of Red Zone Sports, and at the far end, Sam the Man Morgan is from The Verge magazine. And we're going to talk through some of the games. We're going to start with the game at Twickenham between the Vikings and the Browns.
Which is the fourth of the London games.
Exactly,
yeah.
Yes.
I think, this is big game in inverted commas. It's only a big game because it's in London. I have been to all three of the games so far this year.
You deserve a medal, I think.
And they've all been very disappointing. Mm-hmm. You turn up, you think, okay, that's the Ravens are coming to town against the Jags. It looks like it's going to be a good game. Not a good game. You've got the Saints came and played Dolphins. You think it's going to be a good game. Wasn't a good game. I turned up really excited last Sunday, thinking, "Wow, yeah, Adrian Peterson. This is a divisional game. It's going to be relevant." Yeah. It was a blowout. I'm hoping that this game looks like a mismatch when you first look at it, and I'm hoping that, please God, this is the game that gives it some excitement, because I'm there with a load of clients and I would like to enjoy it. So I actually think it might be a closer game than you think, because although the Vikings are leading their division, the Browns haven't got a win. If you look at it, actually the teams match up on paper quite well. The Vikings are not big scorers themselves. The Browns are ranked overall 9th on defence, and they'll be going against a 15th ranked pass, which is okay, and they're 6th against the rush. So the fact that their defence is quite good and the Vikings' defence is quite good, I think that might sort of offset each other. And I'm not saying the Browns are going to win, but I think it's going to be a fairly low-scoring game. I think that in terms of betting, the line is too high at 9 points. I would never touch that, because you've got to remember the Browns are under pressure when they play at home because everyone's on the team's back. They're under pressure when they go away because they're at an away ground and they can't hear the calls. They're coming to a neutral venue, and I can't think that the Vikings are going to have that many fans. They're not like a New York Giants or New England Patriots that have a load of fans when they come to the UK.
And you're saying the Browns do?
No, I'm not saying they do, but I got a feeling that some neutrals might just get behind the Browns, and I think that will make it a closer game, please God, than we've had so far.
Yeah, firstly, couldn't agree with you more about the disappointment of the games. It's been a shame, actually, because probably geared up to actually see. Look, when the games were first announced, actually, we got some really good games on our hands. What I will firstly say is actually thank you to the NFL UK for the tribute for Kevin. We were really there, weren't we? And it was really good to see everyone around the stadium and how they set it up, sort of applauding and really taking their time for the big man. But aside from that, the game was disappointing, not just because Cardinals did get sort of smashed up, but it was just people lost interest in the game because it was just done and dusted. The New Orleans game, I tried to actually stay awake for the majority of it, but it was quite difficult. And even the Ravens, I thought the Ravens would come out of their shell as well. And, it was
that
really,
was a shock. For me, out of all those games, that was the
all three games have been disappointing, which is why that's why I'm thinking it's the law of averages, is the fact that we've expected good games for.
Spoken like a true gambler.
Yeah, that's it. Expected good games, and we've had bad games. So maybe this one might just be.
I think the Browns are probably going to. This is the best time for them to actually be going up against the Vikings with some of the sort of, Stephon Diggs is obviously questionable. Bradford's knees out. Keenum's obviously not getting getting them where they want them to be.
And they're playing against a 32nd ranked offense as well, Vikings. So that's the thing for me.
The only thing you got to remember is Kaiser has looked, he's coming back in and he's looked truly awful. I think he's got 52% of his passes. He's had 3 touchdowns and he's got the worst record in the NFL with 11 interceptions.
I like the look of Myles Garrett though. At the Browns.
He's in concussion protocol this
week.
Is
he? He's the only sort of shining light from the Browns at the moment. It's sort of a bit exciting there, but
you look at the Minnesota defense. I mean, they're fifth in points allowed, 17 points allowed, and Cleveland's offense is only generating 14.7 points a game. You know, yardage, they're just not doing anything on offense. Defensively, they're great. So my question is this. You look at Cleveland over the years. This is the second year of a 3-year rebuild, supposed 3-year rebuild. Okay, it's a perennial thing.
How many rebuilds?
Every 3 years. Every 3 years they rebuild. This is how it works. All right. But the scouting department. This is my big thing. You know, Jimmy Haslam, Paul Podesta, you know, even David Lee, the quarterback coach, has got to hold their hands up and say, you know, we're regressing. You know, David Lee especially. I mean, Deshaun Kaiser has regressed, no doubt about it. So what is, you know, is David Lee going to come out and say, yeah, it's my fault? You know, they passed
Not
on
likely,
Carson.
by the way.
Well, you look at the draft picks they've missed on, and it's easy in hindsight to get it. All right, Carson Wentz. He apparently wasn't the 20th best quarterback they could have taken. They passed on Carson Wentz. They passed on Deshaun Watson. They had a chance of taking him as well. You know, what did these scouts see to pass these guys up? It's the scouting department needs a.
What you also got to remember
is
is
Taylor Gabriel go, and Taylor, all he's done is score touchdowns in.
But those players would have gone into the Browns, and the Browns, even if you had those players, I think that's a broken. That would have been a lot of pressure. You could have put Carson Wentz in there, and that would have been a lot of pressure on him, going into a team like Philly, where you know, coming out of the Chip Kelly era, everything was an uplift for them. The Browns are a team in their doldrums, and you know,
I think you're getting the same result no matter what quarterback you put in at the moment. I think the ambition starts at the top. I think the ambition starts at the top.
I think they're getting bad reports from the bottom. I think this has got to be taken from the bottom. But their scouting reports are not, obviously, that they can only make decisions on what they're given.
But who's in charge? Who's in charge of that?
Well, yeah, I get that. That's fair enough. That's a fair shout.
At the end of the day, someone's at the top. At the top is in charge of everyone.
Jimmy Haslam.
So when it comes down to it, we're not performing. They're not performing down there. Take them out. You get new. You get new. But so you can't. The rebuild. There is no rebuild at the Browns.
It's starting. Yeah.
To be fair, I mean, you know, their run defense isn't bad. Let's look at the positives. Just for the sake of my poor old friend Phil Aegis, who's been at the Racing Post, who's been a lifelong Browns fan. And you know, their defense just can't stay on the field for 50 minutes though. This is the problem. You know, they've got no receivers. But my question again, why let somebody like Taylor Gabriel go? Because all he's done is score touchdowns. You know, it's a problem. Joe Thomas as well. This is another thing. Joe Thomas hasn't missed a game at left tackle for about 60 years, and he's not playing this week for the first time, which is a real issue for them. They're also going to a tough part of the schedule. So we go back to the thing: are they going to be the first team to get a win out of them in San Francisco?
Definitely
not. I mean, I do actually think, as I said, I'll go back. I think this game might be closer than people think. I think the Vikings will win, but I do think it will be a low-scoring affair. I think Case Keenum's, you know, a perfectly good game manager. I mean, he's shown his arm down the field a few times actually since he's come in. And
they're 5-2.
Yeah,
they're topping their division.
They're topping their division. Funny enough, I do think that division is wide open though. You know, I think although they're in pole position, Green Bay, I'm writing off Green Bay at the moment, and I think the Lions and in fact the Bears still have a shout in that division. And I know that sounds crazy.
You got one proven quarterback in that division at the moment,
and he's a little banged up with his shoulder as well. So you know,
you're going against Mitch Trubisky, who's a rookie. You know, you've got.
I like the energy in Chicago. The energy, something's changed in Chicago.
They do have Brett though in Green Bay, but it's unfortunately not Brett Favre. It's Brett Hundley. So you know, it's you know, they've got Case Keenum's a backup, Hundley's a backup. You know, we've got your man in Detroit, who's the only proven quarterback. So. They could, you know, they're 3-3 at the moment. I can see them winning that division.
I've got lines for that division. For the game, I'm going to go Vikings as well.
I love the Bears because I had a tip pre-season for the Bears for the division, so I've got long odds on that. But
so we're all going for the Vikings then, as far as it goes in this game.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Let's move on then. We've got the Texans at the Seahawks. Now the Seahawks are about 5.5-point favourites for that one, if you like your betting. Seahawks are chasing the Rams in the West, NFC West. They've got a 4-2 record. They've played one game less than the Rams, who've got 5-2. Seattle defense is obviously the best in the NFL at points allowed. They've only conceded 17.7 per game. Texans, they've scored the third best in the league. I mean, I know it's earlier in the season they were doing this, but the 29.5 points per game. Where do you see this one going? Tough game to work for me.
I'm wondering if they cancel each other out a little bit, and it just sort of becomes a little bit closer than we think. I think you might see the experience of the Seahawks maybe push them past, but that's a game I'd love to watch.
I'm going out on a limb. I think first of all the line I think is too high. I think Deshaun Watson is a great player, which is why I wouldn't trade him to you, Tom, in our fantasy football league when he asked this week. But I think he's a great player. I think he's changed the DNA almost himself of that team. They're coming off of a bye, and although the Seahawks have won 3 on the trot and going for 4th, they've beat the Colts and they beat the Giants. Those are 2 teams that they're pretty soft at the moment. You would go, win that. I still think last week against the Giants, they let the Giants into the game, and I was like, and I was on the Seahawks side last.
But then the Giants, the Giants previously beat Denver. They might not be as bad as you think they are.
You're right. The Seahawks, where have the games been? Have they been away, or have they had the?
They won away at the Rams, but the one at the Rams is the one that makes you sit up and go, okay. But even then, I think that was a close nip and tuck game.
It was.
I think the Texans coming off of a bye, although the Seahawks have the healthier roster, I think they just got more. The defenses are still good. I mean, obviously, Texans have lost a couple of key personnel, but
JJ Watt.
Obviously, but their offense just. I think it's something exciting about it, and I've got a feeling that one. They would be the Seahawks wouldn't cover the spread, and 2, I've got an outside feeling that the Houston Texans might just win the game.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to sit on the fence on this one. This is a game to watch for me. I'm not.
Definitely the game to watch. Yeah.
Interesting. Steelers against the Lions. This is a really fascinating game because this could be pivotal for both teams. Now the Lions are a couple of point dogs at home. Steelers have won the last couple. I'm interested. Steelers top the AFC North, and Baltimore chasing them, and Green Bay are chasing.
Well, Green Bay, the wheels have come off. So, but I think the Bears and the Vikings are in that division are the ones that
Well, the Lions are 3-3. And I look at the 2 quarterbacks in this. Ben Roethlisberger, who's basically he's had average yards 249, but he's had 9 touchdowns and 8 sacks. I mean, it's pretty dismal. Something along those lines anyway. Was it 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Matt Stafford, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 23 sacks. Yet he's still producing. Their quarterback ratings are very, very similar. Detroit, to me, I mean, obviously we said earlier, they're the only team to have a recognised starting quarterback in Matt Stafford in that division. So Detroit can win this game. They've got an excellent chance of running that table.
I think they can. I think they can win this game. I don't think they will personally.
Yeah, I'd like to go for the Lions just because there seems to be at the moment every week coming out of Pittsburgh there is a new story. We've touched on it obviously earlier, but it is just constant something coming out of that camp at the moment, and I'm wondering. It started off. Well, Big Ben said he was thinking about retiring. That's why he's been off, because it's in the back of his mind. Then we had Antonio Brown, obviously, then saying, "Well, give me the ball, give me the ball." It's just more trouble. And now, obviously, we're seeing, Bryant obviously causing up an absolute rift now, and even though it's not directly linked with everyone in there, everyone can see what's going on, and it will have an effect on what's going on.
I think Tomlin's got to take a little bit of the blame for that, because whatever's stirring underneath there, that's got to be coming from the head coach. Whatever he's allowing, maybe he's allowing too much power to those players. But I think this game, I mean, the Steelers are #1 against the pass in defence. And Matt Stafford, he's got a great arm, but he's still got a little bit of that gunslinger tendency, and I think it will be a turnover or 2. Now maybe it will be Roethlisberger getting sacked and stripped of the ball, but I think it's going to be more likely that the run, Bell and the running game will keep the Steelers in control of the game. I think that Stafford will come out and try and catch them up late on, and I think there'll be a turnover. But I do think the Steelers are going to win this game, which will make my brother pretty happy, who's a Steelers fan. So
I'm intrigued. I mean, even if Detroit lose this game, for me, if they beat Pittsburgh, great, or if they beat Green Bay, they're at Green Bay next week. Split that series. Their real, the pivotal game to me is on Thanksgiving when they host Minnesota, and that's in week 12. And then it could all come down, that division could all come down to the final game of the season, week 17, when they host Green Bay. So for me, I think if Detroit, they might lose this game, but if they beat Green Bay next week, I think it actually comes down to the last game of the season with Detroit. I think they're that close.
Yep, I'm telling you, I think the Bears are going to be a little bit more relevant than
with
people
Mitch
think.
Trubisky, who throws 4 passes.
I still think they're going to be a little bit more relevant than people think. I think that game, John
I feel
Fox
like you're
is,
holding on to this.
I have got a bet.
You're clutching on to this.
We're not going to give you.
Let it go, mate. Let it go. Let it go. Not even in the
Yeah.
conversation, he's managed to bring them up.
I'm bringing up the Bears.
We ought to move along.
If you get the cards in, no matter. I mean, the cards weren't even the conversation at Twickenham last Sunday, and you kept bringing them up. Yeah.
But the cards were at Twickenham last week.
You were the best thing on there. Yeah.
Denver Broncos at the Kansas City Chiefs. An interesting game. Bear in mind the Broncos are in a little bit of a problem with their quarterback situation
They've
at the
scored
moment.
10 points in 2 games. That is...
Well, 42 points in 4 games, 10 points a game.
Which is bizarre when you think that they knocked the lights out of Dallas.
Yeah.
And we were like, wow, that looks like a decent team.
Massive divisional game.
Yeah.
Kansas City top the table, 5-2 record. Denver 3-3. Now it could be their season. Yeah, I think it's Denver's season on the line here. They have to win this one. But my question is this: is it time for Brock Osweiler to replace Trevor Siemian?
No, I just don't. I think, Siemian has shown promise. Yep, he's maybe regressed last few weeks, but he's banged up with his shoulder as well. So I think you've got. I think
turnovers have been brutal, though. Haven't they?
Yeah, I think it's. Look, I don't think they win this game, but I certainly don't think going to Brock would be the answer for me. I think, in terms of this game, Alex Smith, Kareem Hunt, they will get the Chiefs back on track after losing 2 games on the spin at home. This is not going to be a contest as far as I'm concerned.
I think the problem with Denver is the protection. I mean, it's been that way for a little while now. You look at last week, for instance, they had 36 third downs, and 24 of them were over 6 yards on 3rd down. You're putting yourself in that position, you've got no chance, really. I mean, the statistics would say, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball. So is it all Trevor Siemian's fault? Not at all, not entirely.
No. Which is why I don't think you go. Why I don't think you go.
I still think there's a lot of adjustments since Manning's left. I think if you look, as we know, Manning was hardly in the huddle. He had that sort, had them organised. It's a big transition for everyone. Why pull Siemian out now to almost start again?
And they've still got that defense.
Yeah.
But that defense has been, defense has been.
But that keeps them honest, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, they're on the pitch. They're on the field too much. That's the problem with the defense. A defense needs time to rest, especially up at Mile High. They might play there all the time.
We're talking about Denver here, but Kansas City. I mean, they're having they've followed on from what they were doing last year. They were a bit unlucky to not progress in the playoffs and come up against Pittsburgh. But you look at who they've drafted. I mean, Kareem Hunt. You look at their running game with Kareem Hunt, and then you look at the running game with the Broncos. Kareem Hunt's had 124 attempts, 717 yards. And you put C.J. Anderson and Jamal Charles together, doesn't even come close. So tell me a little bit about Kareem Hunt and what he adds to that team.
But then it goes back to the offensive line, surely, because we know that both the running backs, they may not be in the Kareem Hunt class.
Not so fast.
But
not so fast.
Why do you think?
I'm just. You look at the amount of yards he's been making after the catch, and you look at Kansas City's offensive line isn't great. How many times has Alex Smith been sacked?
Maybe you're right.
It's not the best. I think
he's a great player.
With any rookie though, at some point.
Game film, you're going to say game film. Yeah, all right.
And I think later on, I think everyone's going to start to pick it up a little bit. Right. I'm not taking anything away from Kareem Hunt. He's been brilliant, and it's been actually enlightening to watch someone like that. I think actually in that division though now is actually the Broncos have got to look over their shoulders for the Chargers. Surprisingly, I think they've started to pick it up a little bit.
I don't think the Chiefs have got this division wrapped up at all. I think this is going to be
quite open.
Yeah, this is
definitely. You've got the Chargers on the rise, haven't you? They won the last 3.
Yeah,
it's open.
And you go back to the Chargers. The games they lost because Miami. they couldn't kick field goals. Really that was it. So we have to reevaluate what they were like. And I also just think that Oakland as well. They're look, we've got the AFC West standings up there, and I think they're all in it. And I think that a slip up by Kansas could bring, well, I don't think Denver are going to be in the discussion at the end of the year, but the last game of the season, is it not Kansas City in Mile High playing Denver? And you could imagine the Denver defense having something to say about the outcome of the division, even if the Broncos aren't going to win it themselves.
Okay, where's your tenor going for that division?
I still.
Sorry, you wouldn't part with a tenner, a fiver.
Yeah, no. I still fancy the Raiders. I don't. You know, I do. I mean, look, the Chiefs are in pole position, and the Chiefs are the most likely to do it. But
Navarro Bowman makes them instantly better on that back end.
Yeah, I just think the Raiders have got something, and you're right. And I just think that there will be that will be an up and down division. I think that the AFC second.
AFC East, AFC West.
No, conference.
AFC
the second
North,
ranked team will be. Yeah, thank you very much. The second ranked team will come out of the division. I think Steelers are going to get first place in the AFC, and I think.
So who we got for this game, fellas?
Oh, Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs.
Absolutely.
We're just going to quickly for the betters. 7 points, they cover it.
I think they probably do cover the 7 points actually, but I wouldn't be betting it. I do not bet over -3 lines. That's just my advice to you. I wouldn't bet anything over 3. Simon likes -15 when he bets, but you know I wouldn't touch it.
In some instances.
Yeah. So
now, just coming back to the Chargers as well, they have a Mike Williams rookie wide receiver on the way back. Now I said about a couple of rookies before, and everyone sort of said not sure, and then they come up and blew it out the water. Keep an eye on this kid. You've heard it here.
Okay.
By the end of the season,
That will come back and bite you, but that's fine.
Nope, it didn't before, and everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, you said about that." So bear that in mind.
Cool, excellent.
Cool.
Warren Lambias, Sam the Man Morgan, Simon Milham.
Simon Milham.
We
can't lose
Milham.
that. We can't. Simon Milham.
Yeah.
That's it for the big games of Week 8 NFL. Don't forget, sports fans, you want to get ahead, tune into the SportsHeads.
redzonesports.bet, the British home of American sports.